The Honor 6 Plus has 3 8-megapixel cameras, one on the front and 2 at the back. Ergonomically speaking, this device has a slab kind of feeling to it. It is very familiar to holding an Xperia Z3, but this phone lacks the shutter button. You can shoot with the volume button like most of the phones, but having the volume button on the right side of this device makes it hard to shoot landscape, as you might block the camera or the display while doing so. While swiping up from the lock screen gives fast access to the camera, you can also double tap the volume down button to take a quick shot. It also displays the time it took to capture a shot from sleep, which is of no practical use. This varies depending on the applications opened in background. Shots taken with that mode are mostly not in focus and very grainy. I'm assuming it is not for any kind of close or macro shooting. The display is bright and vivid, and I have no complaints about that. The only complaint I have is about the parallel camera, as the company says it can churn out photos that are as good as a DSLR. The parallel camera in theory lets you capture depth information, but in reality it is just a gimmick that we'll talk about in a moment. Here's how the photos turned out. The images look grainy in indoor lighting, but it is somewhat bearable. There is a watercolor-like feel to nearly all the photographs you can see in this 100% crop. Outdoors, during daytime, mostly all the photos I took have the skies with a tinted look, where it appears going from white to blue. It produces quite unnatural looking skies in an attempt to look DSLR-like. At dusk, the watercolor effect increases and the images appear to be more noisy. This is because the ISO bumps all the way up to 4000, as you can see in this image. Here in this image you can see the loss of details in the highlight area. You can use HDR mode, which matches the exposure of sky and the object to give a balanced photo. HDR is a bit faster on this phone because it makes use of both the lenses and sheds off some processing time. The macro performance is decent. You get good amount of blur and the tap to focus does not take too much time to refocus. The aperture information is not public, but going by the EXIF details, the phone rocks a f2 lens. There is a wide aperture mode that gives you a slider to pull the aperture wide open to f0.95. But in reality, it is just a defocusing trick and tries to give you a DSLR-like background blur. The end result of using such a defocus mode is that the camera will produce choppy edges to everything you shoot. You can refocus the shots later in the gallery, but it simply does not focus well from background to foreground. Sometimes it gives a distortion when refocusing a shot. It is simply not up to the mark. The other mode that tries to give a DSLR treatment to the photo will be a super night mode. This mode requires the phone to be very stable. A tripod will be needed, but I ended up putting my phone against my bag or helmet to keep it stable anyway. The end result is something like this. This is basically a long exposure mode, which means that the camera is shooting for some period of time to obtain as much details and light as it can. A slight shake of either phone or object will render the photo useless and you begin to see artifacts. I compared the shots taken with the Honor 6 Plus with my DSLR, keeping all the settings equal, and here's what I got. Unprocessed images with the DSLR were grainless and had more depth and details to them, whereas the shot in the super night mode with the Honor 6 Plus left some ghosting. It was practically pointless to me then, as it felt there is a lot of software tricks taking place than the actual optics working. The front camera is decent and gives a beauty level adjuster. This drastically reduces skin blemishes and makes photos look softer. I preferred keeping it to setting 3, as higher setting would make the images look very puffy. Video quality is average. Huawei decided to keep the default resolution to 720p. I don't know for what reason, but it was towards the end of my review when I realized that it is set to 720p. To conclude my review, I would say this is mostly good. It is not the best camera on an Android phone. Priced around Rs 25,000, I would not want to buy this phone, as there are better ones like the Oppo Find 7a, which gives an interpolated 50 megapixel photos and 2K video recording. You can buy much popular phone, the Xiaomi Mi 4, which features a Sony sensor and an actual 1.8 lens. Or go for the OnePlus One, which also rocks a Sony sensor. They all will give much better result compared to the Honor 6 Plus. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. This is Seth signing off.